The sun cast a golden glow across the garden as the Buddha sat surrounded by his devoted disciples. His serene presence brought calmness, and the gentle rustling of leaves echoed the wisdom he was about to share. The air was fragrant with blooming jasmine, carrying the essence of tranquility in every breath. "Ananda," the Buddha spoke, his voice as soothing as a stream. "I will tell you about the bonds of love." The disciples leaned closer, their hearts eager to absorb his teachings, their minds ready to understand his wisdom. There once lived a young man, Sudhir, in a village bustling with noise and ambition, began the Buddha. Sudhir sought wealth and recognition, driven by desires that consumed his every waking thought. His gaze softened as he continued. In his pursuit, Sudhir grew distant from his aging parents, ignoring their sacrifices and unconditional love. Beneath the shade of the Bodhi tree, the Buddha sat in serene meditation, his calm radiating outwards. Malika bowed deeply, her voice quivering as she tried to convey her family's struggles. "Lord Buddha, my home is drowning in chaos," each voice louder than the next, drowning out any possibility of peace. The Buddha opened his eyes gently, his gaze calm and unshaken, and he gestured for Malika to sit beside him. "Malika," he began, his voice soft yet resonant, "peace is not found in silence alone. It must be cultivated within one's heart." Malika nodded, her eyes moist with emotion, eager for wisdom to relieve the burden of her family's disharmony. "But how, Lord Buddha?" she implored, her voice barely above a whisper. "How does one cultivate peace in such relentless noise?" Buddha paused for a moment, letting the wind carry the weight of her question before he answered. "Peace begins with understanding," he said. "When a bird finds its nest disturbed, does it not rebuild patiently, without anger or despair?" Malika listened closely, her mind clinging to the simplicity yet profundity of his metaphor, seeking its application in her life. "Tell me, Malika," he continued, "when a tree loses its branches to a storm, does it not grow again, reaching toward the sun?" "Yes, Lord Buddha," she replied softly, her heart beginning to grasp the depth of his teachings. "Like seeds taking root, the fruits of the tree are visible, but the roots that sustain it lie hidden, forgotten in the shadows," the hermit added. Sudhir stood in silence, the realization of his actions weighing heavily on his soul as tears welled in his eyes. How could I have ignored such selflessness, such profound love? Sudhir questioned, his voice trembling. The Buddha continued. The hermit's words ignited a spark in Sudhir's heart, urging him to repair the broken bonds. Returning home, Malika found her family engaged in another argument, their voices sharp and cutting through the fragile calm. She chose not to intervene with anger but instead began listening deeply, observing their words and feelings. Their differences vanish, revealing unity unseen, anchoring them to the earth's nurturing strength despite storms' upheaval. Families nodded, their understanding deepened as Buddha's gentle narrative illuminated the fragile yet enduring bonds of kinship. Her mother-in-law's complaints revealed a fear of being forgotten, a plea for recognition amidst the clamor of the household. Each moment spent listening brought Malika closer to understanding the storm of emotions driving her family's discord. The garden grew silent, the disciples reflecting on the profound lessons shared, their minds exploring the essence of gratitude. The love of parents is profound and selfless, a gift beyond measure, Buddha concluded. To honor them is to honor the foundation of our lives. The disciples bowed deeply, their hearts swelling with reverence and appreciation, their minds embracing Buddha's wisdom. Remember this story, carry its teachings, and let the circle of love guide your path, Buddha gently said. The disciples thanked their teacher, vowing to embody his teachings and nurture the bonds that define their existence. The garden seemed brighter, as if the universe itself embraced the wisdom that had unfolded in its midst. Another day, The gentle breeze carried the soft fragrance of lotus blooms as the Buddha gathered his disciples. In meditation, the sunlight filtered through the trees, casting dappled shadows that danced upon the earth like silent whispers of wisdom. Today, I will share a story of devotion and gratitude, the Buddha began, his voice calm and filled with compassion. His disciples leaned closer, their hearts yearning to hear his teachings and absorb the profound knowledge he would impart. There lived a woman named Amara, who cared for her ailing mother with unwavering devotion, the Buddha said. His gaze fell upon the brothers, whose spirits yearned for understanding. Seeking guidance from the enlightened one's boundless wisdom, Buddha seated himself gracefully beneath the tree, his robe flowing gently, blending with the earth's calm hues. Buddha regarded her with serene understanding, allowing her words to settle before offering his guidance with profound calmness. Malika, he said, the beginnings of peace are like the first shoots of a plant. They require care and patience. She nodded, remembering her silent acts of listening and understanding, but wondered what more could be done to heal fully. You have observed their pain and listened with your heart, Buddha continued. But the work of compassion now begins in earnest. She found herself in a vast desert, carrying a heavy jar of water across endless dunes. The disciples listened intently, captivated by the unfolding story, their minds envisioning the scene of the desert and Amara's relentless journey. In her dream, Amara stumbled and fell, exhausted by the weight of the jar and the harshness of the sun, Buddha described. Yet each time she rose, the jar grew lighter, as if her perseverance brought relief. Reaching an oasis, Amara gazed into the water and saw her reflection, transformed, serene, and glowing with newfound wisdom. She awoke with a realization that changed her perspective, the Buddha narrated. The jar represented the gift of love, not a burden, but a precious opportunity to repay kindness received. Amara embraced her responsibilities with renewed gratitude, her heart lightened by the profound wisdom of her dream. Returning home, she began to show small but significant acts of kindness, even when the environment seemed resistant. When Dhira returned from work, his shoulders heavy with exhaustion, she offered words of encouragement instead of silent indifference. The disciples bowed their heads, absorbing the transformative lesson in gratitude and the beauty of love shared through acts of kindness. Remember, each duty you perform with gratitude strengthens the circle of love, creating harmony and peace in your lives, Buddha concluded. The tranquil garden grew silent, the disciples reflecting on the story, their minds embracing the wisdom they had received. The sun sank lower, casting a golden glow that mirrored the radiance of the Buddha's teachings as the day gently came to an end. Another day, the silvery light of dawn bathed the garden where the Buddha sat serenely. His disciples gathered in peace. Birds sang a gentle chorus as the sun rose, dispelling the cool mist that had enveloped the land. The Buddha began, "Let us reflect on the circle of love, which binds families and communities in harmony and unbroken care." His disciples bowed in respect, their minds open to the profound wisdom he would share, their hearts ready to learn. In a faraway land, the Buddha said, a wise king sought the secret of eternal happiness and summoned sages to his court. The sages presented their answers, yet none satisfied the king, whose heart still yearned for an elusive truth. Ahita and Nanda exchanged glances, their eyes revealing a flicker of remorse and longing to repair their fractured bond. Roots may fracture, but they can heal, Buddha said. The once chaotic household now resonated with moments of calm, understanding, and shared laughter that felt almost foreign before. Malika's silent acts of compassion had transformed the family's dynamics, yet her heart sought reassurance and guidance. The king, puzzled, requested an explanation, prompting the monk to invite him on a journey to a nearby village. In a humble home within the village lived an elderly couple, their faces lined with years but glowing with contentment, Buddha described. Their children cared for them with tenderness, their smiles reflecting the love that filled their modest dwelling. The king watched in silence, his heart moved by the simplicity and joy that permeated the family's interactions and shared moments. Buddha opened his eyes, his gaze warm and encouraging, waiting for her to continue with thoughts that weighed on her heart. "But is this peace permanent?" she asked, her tone tinged with doubt. "Will harmony always remain, or is it as fleeting as the seasons?" Buddha smiled softly, gesturing for her to sit, as the rustling leaves filled the silence between them. "Malika," he said, "peace is not a destination you arrive at. It is a journey you must choose every day." The king decreed that his people should cherish their families and nurture the bonds of love that sustain their lives. The secret to happiness is love, the Buddha concluded. An everlasting circle that enriches our lives and connects us all. His disciples bowed deeply, their spirits touched by the profound wisdom of his teachings, their hearts filled with reverence. As the sun climbed higher, the garden seemed to bloom with the light of understanding, and the disciples reflected silently. It requires vigilance, care, and unwavering commitment. Malika nodded slowly, understanding that peace was not something to be taken for granted but something to cultivate daily. Thank you for watching. Buddha's teachings are always with you. Subscribe to our channel and we will see you in the next video.